Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Theo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of KPOP Foods, and welcome to our first episode of our series of talking about how to start a business as well as eating some amazing food. Some quick background, KPOP Foods is a Korean food brand that my co-founder Mike Kim and I started back in 2017 while we were at UCLA Anderson for our MBA program. We launched one sauce back then. Since then, we've grown to have 6 different products, 2 seaweeds, 4 sauces. We've raised money from multiple investors. Our products are sold nationwide, online via Amazon, via our website. So the inspiration behind this series was really during the pandemic, a lot of people have been reaching out asking, hey, can you give me advice on starting a business? What steps did you take? And, I've been fortunate enough to be a part of panels, talk with investors and other entrepreneurs. And over time, I've gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of experiences. And I wanted to be able to pass that on to aspiring entrepreneurs. At the same time, Mike and I have been incredibly fortunate to have some amazing mentors that gave us some great advice when we started early on. And we love the opportunity to pass that on to you as you start to think about your business, whether it's a tech company, a food brand, a clothing brand, a restaurant, whatever it is. We hope to give you advice and ways to think about stuff. And so while we talk about all that business stuff, at the same time, we're also going to be eating some amazing food. Today, for our first episode, we're going to eat one of my favorite Korean dishes called Bossam. It's boiled pork in Korean. And, right here we have some pickled radish, some kimchi, some jalapenos, lettuce, rice, as well as our sauces. And so without further ado, we'll dig in. So for this series, we're going to talk about a lot of different things, from starting a business plan to thinking about marketing, finance, economics, market sizing, dealing with investors. That seems to be a very interesting, hot topic that a lot of people want to ask about. And so we're going to try to get to all of those things. Today, the main focus will be really thinking about how to come up with the idea. I think it's also important to talk about, how you sort of think through the idea and whether or not you're passionate enough to make it happen. With that, I do want to caveat by saying I don't think there's ever such thing as a bad or horrible idea. Before we get to that, we got to take this first bite because I'm starving. So look at that right there. On this one, we're actually going to try one of our sauces. This was actually our first product ever, K-pop sauce. Dude, look at that. All right, we'll dig in. I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat this whole thing in one bite, but we'll give it a try. Damn, that's good. That's really, really good. Shout out to Mr. Bossam, which is where I picked up the food from. Great spot here in LA. Obviously during the pandemic, restaurants have been getting crushed, so we can support the local ones. Anyways, going back to what I was saying, I don't really think there's ever such thing as a terrible or bad idea. I just think of it as how hard is it to make the idea successful. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, whether it's timing, whether it's competition, market size, million different factors. So let's start. Let's think about, I want to start a company that helps people poop better. Odd topic while I'm eating food. Let's say that he has this idea to create some stool that put your feet up and did some science, research. At first sight, you're probably like, dude, what are you talking about? People have been pooping in toilets forever. Like, how are you gonna make this a better experience? Turns out, I can't remember the name of the company. It's like Potty Trainer or whatever. All they did was really create this stool to put your feet up. Guess how much that company is worth today? It's worth $175 million. It's a $175 million business. Normally, before I started companies and really digging into entrepreneurship, I would say that is the awful idea. What are you talking about? Since then, I've learned a ton that really it's all about how hard is it, right? By the way, we got some kimchi sea snacks here. It's our newest product. Definitely check it out. We're gonna add that to this next bite here. When you think of the best entrepreneurs, what they were able to do is really have this vision of how the world was gonna change, or be able to really think about a vision, what their product could lead to, right? Which I'm pretty sure that potty guy had the idea of it and crushed it. But you think of the greatest entrepreneurs, Elon Musk. I mean, that guy's amazing, right? Like, come on, he's sending people into space. I mean, he's just a genius. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to be like him, but you need to be able to have that vision. You have to be able to sell people on. And I think that's the part that really separates the idea aspect of it. Now, there are, again, on the flip side, there are really, really hard business ideas. Let's take one. Think about this idea. Someone told me this idea was this idea of creating golden straws that they could sell to sort of the high-end market at a really high price of like $50. Really think about that idea, right? Like, hey, if you have a way of sourcing a ton of gold to make these straws and you can keep the cost low, which I think is pretty hard to do, yeah, you may be able to sell them to like, you know, the super 1%ers and things like that. But think about how small that market is. It's really hard to attack. And so it's going to be a really, really hard business idea. And so those are the sort of things you should think about when you're brainstorming of ideas and what you want to do. Obviously, things like restaurants, food services, local markets, those things obviously are a much smaller market, yes, but if you have a different point of differentiation, whether you're offering ethnic foods in the neighborhood, if you hit on certain trends, big trend right now is healthy eating, snacking. Think of it in that sense, and it helps you sort of think about how hard something is really going to be and whether or not that level of success and the opportunity to succeed is a little bit better. Not going to lie, being the first episode that we're trying on this, very hard to talk about business and eat at the same time, but I'm actually enjoying it. So on this bite, we're actually going to be using kimchi mayo. It's awesome. This is one of our best sellers actually, so definitely check it out if you can. This one's not as big as the last bite. This one should be pretty easy, but we'll see. That was awesome. Going back to the market idea, you know, there may be a need. You always want to think of a problem that's solving some sort of need. I think that always helps. Or there's a big opportunity. Mike and I, we started K-Pop Foods because we saw a big opportunity with Korean food trending. Starting any business is really hard. Your chance of success is very, very low, and it takes a lot more than just brain power and hustle to make it succeed. You need a little bit of luck. I think everyone knows that, but yeah, you definitely need some luck. You need some stuff to go viral or get lucky where you land sort of a big deal or something like that. All these little things add up to help your chances of success a lot more. So we're gonna add some triple X to this one. Really kick it up a notch. Triple X sauce. This stuff is awesome. All right, let's put some of this stuff on there. Look at that guy right there. All right, let's see if we can get this all in one bite. This is awesome. I'm glad we came up with this idea. Thank you, Christina. She's our head of our social media, and she was really the one that pushed this idea forward. So I'm excited to do it as long as I get to eat food. Again, market, points of differentiation. How are you going to differ from things? You know, I was talking to someone else who had this idea of creating sort of a new website content to help people understand the idea of psychedelics a little bit more. The biggest barriers and what makes the idea really hard is that there's a lot of websites out there like Reddit. His point of differentiation, I think, was really cool. It's solving a problem and a need in the market. It's different. Even if you come up with a great idea, let's be honest, like someone else had the same idea as you. It's not just the idea, it's also sort of how passionate you are about solving this problem or seizing this opportunity. When you start to face sort of hurdles, whether it's trying to raise money, there's obviously some stuff that can happen in life that can change circumstances. You're gonna have to overcome a lot of different obstacles that there's no way of foreseeing. We're gonna go with our honey glaze sauce. This stuff goes great on chicken, by the way. The real inspiration was Korean fried chicken. This one was developed by our head of product, celebrity chef Chris O. Great guy. Another, you know, entrepreneur that started a number of different restaurants. Take a look at that. Yep, that was awesome. This whole meal is awesome. As I was saying before, you need to have a lot of passion. A lot of people think the idea is the hard part. I don't think so. I actually think it's actually being able to execute and operate. Whether you're designing an app, a fintech app, whether you're trying to start a restaurant or anything. It's all about execution, being able to operate. Idea is definitely a big portion of it, but as I said again, it's just all about how hard it is and how hard you want to really work for it. If you think, oh no, I've already thought through all that, I already know how to solve it all, believe me, there's stuff that you will not anticipate. You should have some sort of passion and really be ready to dig in. And as we talk a little bit more in this series, when we start talking about investors and how to approach that and how to overcome stuff, a lot of it's just going to be just pure perseverance. It's crazy. I mean, it really is. I mean, even guys at Airbnb, congratulations, by the way, on the IPO. You know, huge success. Obviously, they've had a really crazy year. Those guys, even when they thought they had made it, they still had some turbulence. But you know what? They persevered through it. And that's what I mean. You really have to have a passion. Either passion for the idea, passion for building. If you're just like, hey, I want to make some money. I've got a good buddy that wants to jump in with me. We're just going to try to do this thing. Believe me, it's hard. And when push comes to shove, they might not have like the dream or the wherewithal to finish it off. That's just my viewpoint on it. As we go deeper into this series, obviously, if a lot of people have a lot of questions, or even if they have business ideas that they want me to talk about, please, comment. Please follow us on Instagram if you really enjoyed this first episode. That way you can see sort of the latest episodes and things like that. I'm gonna try to be as honest and straightforward as possible, but I'm gonna give you advice on how to overcome stuff, but as well as talk about some general business stuff, what to prepare for investors, how to think about developing a prototype, gaining early market traction, because I want to help other entrepreneurs succeed. Here we go. A lot of people said, hey, starting a business during pandemic is hard. You're gonna have to make it through. One great book that I highly recommend is Shoe Dog. Early stages of Nike. Those guys had to really persevere some crazy crap, and they crushed it. But like even them, there was multiple points in time where I think the founder was saying that he was not sure that they were going to make it through. If you have that drive, you have that perseverance, you have an idea that you really believe in, that gives you that slight little edge that helps increase your probability of success. And I think any edge and any little bit you can get, I think goes a long way. I got that bite right there. Whatever you're doing, you're going to run into obstacles. And so be ready for it. And if you have the perseverance and you really believe in the problem that you're trying to solve or the opportunity, I'm there to support. I want to try to help. And I hope you make it. All right, one last bite. Next episode, we're going to talk a lot more about the strategy and go into a lot more detail about stuff, specifically focusing on thinking about how to write up a business plan. Believe me, I'll talk about why I think building a business plan is important and sort of how you go about doing the research for it, who you should try talking to. That was a skill set I really had to learn as we were building K-Pop Foods. Network and ask the right questions. There's only so much you're going to learn reading from websites or even listening to the series. The more insights you get, again, it just increases your odds just a slight bit to help you succeed. Also, one thing I forgot to talk about. I think this one's a very interesting point of view or topic. It's this idea that like you come up with this idea, you're scared to talk about it with people. I think it was one of my good friends, Dan, who I met in business school. He was like, dude, you should always talk to people about it. It's gonna be fine. And when I think about it now, with everything I've gone through, I think he's right. I think what talking to people about my idea did was help me think of different obstacles I was gonna have to face. Also helped me fine tune my pitch. So yeah, anyways, next episode, come back, follow us on K-Pop Foods, at K-Pop Foods on Instagram. Just so I can know if you guys like the content I'm talking about. But next episode, talk about writing up that business plan, the different aspects of it that you have to think through, as well as talking about the product. Obviously, for K-Pop Foods, we'll probably talk a little bit about how we approached it. We actually went the Kickstarter route. Yeah, this one will be good. It's the last one, so I want to make it good. A lot of people have questions about their businesses. Again, please leave them in the comments. Happy to answer questions and even talk about them on the next episode. But other than that, I hope people found this first part helpful, especially if you're in the early stages trying to think of an idea and you got time in your hands during this pandemic. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. We're gonna have a new, different food item, and we'll go from there. All right, thanks everyone. See you later.